So it looks like Seth Rollins is going to be out with an injury for maybe quite some time. Um, Yesterday, Saturday night's main event, Seth Rollins in his match against LA Knight, as he had done, I believe, if I seem to remember correctly, a line salt, but then was doing it where, LA Knight rolls out the way, but then Seth Rollins would land on his feet, tweaked his knee, and yeah, so people were wondering, was it a work at the time, thinking maybe that this was just an act and that Seth Rollins would come in later on and then cash in Money in the Bank. But apparently this injury is legitimate. They were saying that they were told by sources that Seth Rollins was originally set to defeat LA Knight on tonight's edition of WWE Saturday Night's Main Event. Knight winning was a last second call to end the bout after Rollins tweaked his knee, so there was very much just on the fly. And that Rollins was yelling fuck as he was helped out of the ringside area by officials. So it is very unfortunate for Seth Rollins. You could say it's unfortunate, maybe timing with a lot of things. It's probably going to cause a lot of storylines to change. But there's always that thing of taking a negative, turning it into a positive. So it might not be the end of the world. But then again, you were probably, it looked like you were going to be having, it looks like Roman Reigns was going to be coming back soon. And I imagine that he would have been gunning for Rollins and would have been gunning for the faction after what happened at WrestleMania. So maybe it will change plans somewhat. But I guess it would be interesting to wait and see. And then just to wait and see, really, is he going to be out for a long time with this, knee injury, Rollins? They're saying it's the same knee that when he tore his ACL back in 2015. That's when he was champion. I believe he was going for a sit-out powerbomb in a match with Kane, and that's how it happened. So yeah, it doesn't look good. It's possible he could be out from, I mean, I don't know. It could be anything. Gosh, it could be anything from, like 6 to 8 months, perhaps. You never know. But so what's next though? So what's next for Seth Rollins and his faction? Because it was very much a focal point of the show, wasn't it? You had Seth Rollins, the faction. It's kind of odd though when you've got two heel factions like Judgment Day and then Seth Rollins and his squad. You maybe only really want to have one that's on Raw, but there's potential for. I mean, there's maybe even more potential for Braun Breaker to become a more of a bigger star now with Rollins being out of the way. You could even do something where you push him to the moon. You could even go as far as having Breaker win the title, and then Rollins comes back, and then he's jealous that this now the spotlight's on Breaker. You could do something like that. That's just me thinking out loud, kind of. But I was a little bit unsure about this pairing initially. I mean, having Rollins with Heyman initially, I was a little bit skeptical of, but then I thought, let's have a wait and see approach. I think when you had that triple threat match at WrestleMania with Punk, Rollins, and Punk, Rollins, and Reigns, it was kind of like, well, what the fuck kind of thing. There's like no stakes, it's not even like a number one contender match for the title. But they did the best what they made the best out of it, that situation, those guys. And I suppose having the whole thing about fighting over Heyman and then Seth's doing the whole you owe me thing to Heyman, and that made it interesting, that made it intriguing. But yeah, I was a little bit unsure of having Rollins and Rollins and Heyman be paired up. I just don't know. I think they tried hard to make it appear that Rollins is relevant on that level, like Punk and Reigns are. But when you really think about it, the casual fans are much more invested in Punk and Reigns than they are Rollins, and that's just how it is. Yes, the fans like to sing Rollins' theme song. I get that. But that doesn't necessarily mean that he's like over to the level that they are. He might have been, the third most over guy in the Shield when you think about it, because the casual fans loved Roman Reigns, the smart fans, the hardcore fans loved Ambrose, Moxley, So, yeah, they've tried hard to give him that rub, because I guess he needs it. I understand that, but I just don't know if this is quite worked out. But I did very much say, okay, let's have a wait and see approach on this. Breaker, I think putting Breaker with Heyman's good to get that rub as a Heyman guy for Breaker is good. And it's only a matter of time until he'll be the guy It's just a matter of time, really. I think having this big Bronson Reed dude in the group, I'm not so certain of. Because when you think about it, Breaker's he's a huge guy in his own right. You know what I mean? So it's like he could have been the guy essentially in the group Breaker who was the heater, right? But then you're bringing in Bronson Reed, who's a bigger guy and kind of makes, in comparison, makes Breaker look small, and then he's the heater. So I don't know if that was particularly the right idea for them to do. The explanations behind some of this is not the best, because you had Bronson Reed who almost killed Seth Rollins one time, like 10 splashes, and then now he's back and he's aligned with him. I don't know. I mean, I get the whole thing of maybe Rollins saying, "Oh, I was so impressed by your killer instinct," or whatever it was, but yeah, I mean, there's things that they need to probably do, make maybe little tweaks here and there. Maybe adding a U member would be good. Maybe that would be good. I don't know who it would be. Do you add a female into the group? Do you add in a smaller guy into the group, maybe more like a high flyer type? I don't know. There's talks that people said, "Oh, Carmelo Hayes would be good. The LA Knight even would be good, a good addition to the group." I don't know, man. I don't know, but there's definitely tweaks I think that could be made with the faction for sure, though. I mean, with the storyline, how this will go. I mean, it's not like. I mean, the thing is, Rollins has got the briefcase, right? So you get a title shot within 12 months. So he can still hold the briefcase, and this could actually make it quite intriguing, what I mean? Because there'll be that uncertainty maybe of when's he going to come back, when is he going to be recovered from his injury, you know. But then Rollins, like this could be good for Rollins as a heel, because Rollins can now be that guy, like do the wheelchair gimmick, have him be out in a wheelchair cutting promos and getting heat that way. So it could actually work. This could actually be, I don't really say a blessing in disguise, but it could actually help more with getting legitimate heat as far as Rollins goes as a heel. But yeah, I mean, you never know though, because it's like they could decide that Breaker is going to be the one that they, because they could do that thing, because they could have like Rollins in a segment saying, "Oh, I'm so impressed by you, Breaker. I've been under my learning tree, all this, that, the third." And then Rollins hands Breaker his Money in the Bank contract, and Breaker's got now the title shot. You could do it that way. Or, they could decide, to have it on Rollins, and then, Rollins, even you could even do a Heist of the Century Mark II, and then have Rollins cash in at WrestleMania next year. You could even go as far as that, doing it that way. So there is possibilities there. So it is obviously unfortunate, especially unfortunate for Rollins being the one that'll be hurt, will be injured. It will change things with storylines go. And then you had Liv Morgan, who was injured too. And some people said, well, was that a shoot? Was that a work? The timing of it is awful suspect when you think about it, because now all of a sudden Roxanne Perez is coming in and now is the tag champion, right? Because when you think back, they're kind of almost doing a like copying the Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan storyline from last year, and then Rhea Ripley went out storyline injured, I think, or she was already injured, but then they had Liv Morgan nail her with a chair a few times, whatever. But I don't know. I mean, so it doesn't look like it's a work. It's a shoot, unless they're all working as, and then Rollins in the next few weeks or whatever, in a month, SummerSlam cashes in and wins the belt. I don't know. It looks like it's a shoot. But yeah, there's possibilities there. They can make tweaks and they can make changes to the storyline, and they can make it interesting. Have Rollins come out in the wheelchair cutting promos doing that. Bring someone else into the group. Try and make it fresh. Keep it good like that. So there's definitely some opportunities there, some possibilities, and let's hope they can make the best out of this. Make the best out of kind of a bad situation with the injury that Rollins has with his knee. But that's just my thoughts on that, guys. But you know what to do. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button, and leave a comment. Give me your take on what your thoughts were. What do you think of Seth Rollins with this injury? What would you do if you were booking the show in this situation? How would you book it for Rollins? But that is me for now, guys. Thank you very much. Cheers. Bye.